All right, so let's see what we got with regard to your Unit 2 exam. So up here are the 4 things this time that you had parts of the exam. MC stands for multiple choice. There were 32 each worth a point apiece. There were 10 vocab worth 2 points apiece. There were 7 short answer worth 3 points apiece. And then I had pictures of 8 planets, and you had to tell me which planet it was. So for multiple choice, which of the following planets is associated with a great dark spot? Actually, that is A, Neptune. The great dark spot is Neptune. Question number 2. In order for the planet to actively exhibit plate tectonics, the correct answer there is B, or the best answer there is B. The core must be sufficiently hot so that part of the mantle is still liquid. Question 3, what chemical is most responsible for making Mars appear red? That would be iron, more specifically iron oxide. So B is the best answer for 3. Question 4, which of the following is not one of the 4 Jovian planets? Titan is not one of the 4 Galilean moons that orbit Jupiter. Ganymede, Europa, and Callisto, and Io are the 4 Galilean moons. Question 5, what keeps the F ring in place? Of course, that's around Saturn. The best answer is there that D, that it's held in place by 2 shepherd moons, or otherwise called satellites. Question 6, how were the rings of Uranus discovered? It's called occultation, and the best answer is B there. The rings were discovered as they periodically blocked light from a star behind the line of sight as the Earth orbited the Sun, so it's occultation. Question 7, Titan, moon or satellite, orbits C, Saturn. Question 8, the surface feature that looks like Miss Piggy or is called Miss Piggy is on the planet Venus. A is the best answer there. Question 9, polar ice caps on Mars are composed mostly of solid carbon dioxide. D. Question 10, which of these following scopes is noted for analyzing in the infrared region? And that would be the B, the Spitzer telescope. Question 11, which of the following would be a situation in which the Doppler effect did not occur? And that would be D, when there's what we call proper motion versus radial motion. So D, if a star is pulsing red light and it moves in a line perpendicular or right angle relative to the Earth, then we won't see, if it's not moving directly toward or away, which is what D is describing, there's no Doppler effect. So D is the best answer there. 10, which of the following is an incorrect statement about the relative size of Jupiter? Hopefully you put this on your note card. A, B, and C are correct about Jupiter. D is not true. If the Jupiter had been just simply twice as its mass, it would have formed a companion star to our sun. I think it's 75 times its mass. So, question 13, which according to Wien's law, the hottest black body would is listed down here, be the color indigo, D. So Roy G. Biv, so indigo violet are the shortest wavelengths. 14, the phrase used in class when the sun turned on is referred to a time when C, the sun began nuclear fusion in its core and it began the solar wind. Question 14, Triton is a moon that orbits B, Neptune. Looks kind of like a cantaloupe on its surface. It's got kind of cool surface texture. Question 16, which of these following best describes how adaptive optics work? And the best answer there is A, that they actually reshape the mirror in order to try to compensate for the disturbances that are happening in the Earth's atmosphere. Question 17, which two planets is the frost line in our solar system located between? That would be the last terrestrial Mars and the first Jovian Jupiter. So B is the best answer. 18, which of the following is not one of the reasons we use a telescope? And we do not use a telescope B so that we can avoid Earth's distorting atmosphere. The other 3 reasons are reasons we use a telescope. Question 19, as presented in lecture, the effect of twinkling is most associated with B, pockets of air in the Earth's atmosphere at different temperatures. Question 21, which of the following is not something that suggests water once flowed on the surface of Mars? And so actually B, C, and D are indications that water once flowed on the surface of Mars. The presence of dust devils is not. Question 21. I actually counted that right, whatever you put, because I have a typo here. The answer I was after is A, and you can see in my answer key, I took the word now and marked it out and put the word not. So which of the following statements best summarizes the greenhouse effect as presented in a lecture? And what I was after was A, that visible light passes through the atmosphere, interacts and warms the surface of the planet, then the atmosphere will not allow the heat to escape. So for those of you who read my mind and put A, congratulations. Question 22, which of the following was most abundant in the solar system that ultimately created the nebula? Which of the following was most abundant in the solar nebula that ultimately created our solar system? And the answer there is hydrogen and helium, C. How would you describe the tilt of Saturn's beautiful rings? And actually, D is the best answer there. We have a figure in your textbook that shows Saturn and its different tilts. So what happens is we see Saturn's rings oriented differently over the course of years. So D is the best answer there. 24, a refracting telescope uses C lenses to gather light. 25, which of the following was an observation of Mars that for a time back in 1870s really made us wonder if there was intelligent life on Mars? And that's the best answer there is C. It was the the presence of lines. We could actually, through a telescope, see lines on the Martian surface, and it's probably created by dust storms, but they look like intelligent life was creating canals. That's pretty cool. So C is the best answer there. 26, according to the Stefan Boltzmann's law, the black body, which of the black bodies listed below would glow dimmest? And the black body glowing dimmest would be the one that's least energetic, and that was the one emitting the lowest energy, or the light of the lowest energy. That would be the red one. So D is the best answer there. Question 27, which subatomic particle is most responsible for causing those spectral lines? So all I was after was C, the electron. Question 28, the scarp features on Mercury, they look kind of like cliffs, are most likely associated with C, its cooling of the planet. Question 29, which of the following planets looks most like Earth's moon? And the answer there is A, Mercury. Question 30, emission line spectra appear as bright lines against a dark background. So those where electrons are actually falling down from an excited state to a ground state, or to a lower energy level anyway, and emitting energy at a discrete wavelength. 31, Olympus Mons is it's on Mars, and it's a large caldera or volcano on the surface of Mars. Question, so B is the best answer for 31. 32, which of the following led scientists to believe that there was a planet beyond Uranus? And that would be A, that they saw that Uranus actually was deviating from its orbit around the sun as they expected, and so it's probably caused by another planet out there. So these vocab were each worth 2 points apiece. Question 33, so it's possible you got 1 out of 2 points here. So for 33, I was only after one of the two potato-looking moons that orbit Mars, so it could have been Phobos or Deimos. Question 34, the polar region on Saturn has what strange shape in the clouds that circles the poles? And it's a hexagonal. That's what I was after there for 34. Differential rotation is what happens in Jupiter's belts and zones to go alternating directions. Question 36, one of Jupiter's moons, Io, is heated from flexing. And as it's squeezed out and then relaxes, squeezed out and relaxes, we call that tidal heating. Question 36, the answer is tidal heating. For 37, I was after galactic recycling, as when a star lives its life and ultimately dies and generally gives its material back for another star to be born. Question 38, continuous spectrum is the type of spectrum without any spectral lines. Question 39, the term we use to describe that oval surface feature in the clouds of Jupiter, the storm that's been going for over 300 years, is the Great Red Spot. Question 40, the term accretion is what we use to describe how small pieces in orbit about a budding star, such as the sun, run into each other and create larger and larger objects, ultimately forming a planet. Accretion, that's the snowball effect. Question 41, Enceladus is Saturn's moon that has geysers of snow and ice spewing out of its surface. Question 42, interferometry is what we use in radio astronomy to combine the signal from multiple telescopes. Then on to short answers. So these were 3 points apiece. So 43, you can see on the answer key, I just wanted you to kind of compare the terrestrial or the rocky planets with the gaseous or the Jovian planets. You could talk something about the rings, the density, the solid surface versus a gaseous surface. 44, good job. Most of you caught this because I wanted you to list electromagnetic radiation from lowest to highest frequencies. So a low frequency is low energy, a high frequency is high energy. So you needed to go radio, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, and gamma rays. So again, these were 3 points, so sometimes you got partial credit there. Question 45, describe what Uranus's seasons are like. So you could have gone a few different directions. You can kind of see on my answer key what I did. I mentioned that Uranus's axis of rotation is, of course, lying in the plane of the ecliptic. And so it has very exaggerated winters and summers in the different hemispheres. Or you could say something about how long it takes. It orbits the sun in about 84 years, so divided by 4, that's 21 years is how long the seasons are. Question 46, I wanted you to kind of touch on the fact that Mercury, the extreme daytime temperature versus the nighttime temperature. And to me, there's kind of 2 reasons. I'm not sure no, I didn't put it. A lot of you guys said something about its thin atmosphere, which was really good. But then I think I also wanted to hear it also something along the fact that it rotates so painfully slowly. So those 2 things. But question 47, I kind of gave you, here's my picture I drew. I've got a good job. I enjoyed reading your answers to 47. Actually, you guys went beyond what I was after in most cases. So you can see I've got a rocket that is coming towards me at almost the speed of light, and it actually has a beacon that is emitting green light. Now I've chose green because green actually is right in the middle of Roy G. Biv. So what I wanted you to answer is what will happen what will happen to the light as the spacecraft is coming towards me, and it will be blue shifted. And then most of you went ahead and said that after it passes me, then it will be red shifted. So good job. 48. Generally describe what is meant by the nebular theory, and feel free to use these words such as galactic recycling, solar nebula, planetismal accretion, and solar wind. Some of you really picked up on what I was after, but you can kind of see how I summarized it. They said the nebular theory describes the birth of our sun and planets from the original cloud of dust called the solar nebula. Material in the disk around the sun gathered, otherwise known as accretion, to form planetismals. When the center of the sun became dense and hot enough, it began fusion in its core and began blowing solar wind. So we're going to take a look at these here in 49. You were supposed to, for 3 points, go ahead and associate this spacecraft or rover with a planet. So Spirit is actually the rover that is now stuck somewhere and out of juice on the planet Mars. The Galileo probe fell through the clouds of Jupiter, and actually the Cassini spacecraft orbited Saturn for a long time, but then it was running out of juice, so recently Cassini actually fell through Saturn's clouds. Huygens, actually that was the probe that landed or was put on the moon Titan that orbits Saturn. All right, let's take a quick look at the other part then. Name that planet. So this was fun for me. This is Saturn. And this, by the way, this little dot here, remembers the Earth, is taken by the Cassini spacecraft. The next page, this is Mars. Then we have Jupiter. Most people got these right. This is Venus, so I didn't know if this would give you away. Remember, this is that Venera, the USSR space craft that landed on. So this is Venus. Of course, well, Not, of course. This is Neptune. So this is that great dark spot that was a question, like question 1 multiple choice. It's no longer there, but this is Neptune. And I wanted you, or hope you could differentiate Neptune from Uranus by the fact that Uranus looks like it's lying on its side. So this actually is Uranus. Maybe it's a little tricky. And most people got Earth. Okay. And then this one, if you put the moon, you are in great company. But actually, this is the planet Mercury, which actually, that was also a test question, which planet most looks like the moon. And this is one of those rills that actually was created as Mercury cooled. So I think that about does it. If you have any questions, let me know. Don't forget to count up your points.